Types of documents in a transaction file. As a cardholder or approving official, you must maintain appropriate record keeping and documentation for all purchase card transactions. Cardholders or approving officials can preserve documents on paper or electronically, but they must be available for oversight review and audit. Failure to maintain proper record keeping and documentation is grounds for suspension of an account. Here are some guidelines to follow when collecting and preserving transaction documentation. Purchase card log. All cardholders must enter each transaction on the purchase card log, located in the Servicing Bank Log or Manual Log web-based toolkit. Transaction file documentation. All cardholders must maintain an individual file for each purchase card or convenience check transaction. These transaction files must be retained for a minimum of 6 years after final payment, regardless of transaction amount. Transaction files also must be accessible for review purposes and must include the following at a minimum. 1. Request for purchase with available funds, signed and dated by their originators. 2. Required pre-approvals. You can use the checklist template as a guide. 3. Documentation of all post-purchase activities. You can use the checklist template as a guide. 4. Copies of online transactions, itemized receipts, and faxed verification of orders. 5. Delivery receipts or packing slips, signed and dated. 6. Merchant point of contact information. 7. Copies of appropriate departmental property forms, if accountable personal property. 8. If applicable, you must include a memorandum to the file explaining any unique circumstances for the transaction. For transactions with third-party processors such as PayPal, Square, Groupon, or Amazon Marketplace, documentation must include the name of the merchant, the name of the third-party processor, the amount of the transaction, and a statement explaining why it was necessary to purchase the product or service from the merchant. Reconciliation files. Any reconciliation files must include the purchase card log, a statement of account that is approved by the cardholder in the Servicing Bank's web-based toolkit, and monthly transaction files. Although records retention is the responsibility of the approving official, it may be delegated to the cardholder. However, the approving official must always have access to the individual cardholder's file. If the cardholder terminates employment or transfers to a new position, the transaction files will transfer to the approving official for retention. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Commerce.